You never want to like lengthen their body. Well, folks, time for another fishing report. And unfortunately, you're not going to get a lot of cool river scenes again. You're going to be stuck in the pickup truck. We've had some weather. It's windy outside, so that messes up with the microphone. We've had some rain. Cameras don't like getting wet. So I'm going to sit in the truck and do it. So I apologize for the lack of the real cool river background. Lack of. We're just going to have to sit look at me in the truck and see the rod rack in the back here. And listen to me gas off about the fishing. It's been a week. I'll tell you that. The river, I'll start with the Salmon River. And the water flows got down to 750 plus a little bit of runoff. And the tail end of the first round of high 1500 CFS release. Then we got a couple of weeks at, as you know, at 750, and it's changed. With that high water, I was assuming that we would have seen a flush of new fish come in, steelhead come in, and that would have fired up our steelhead fishing. It really didn't. The first week after water came down, Ricky and George struggled. And finally, just before we had our recent blast of water, they were starting to find some little jags of fish here and there along the river. So they were just trickling in really light. I mean, just tiny handfuls on a daily basis. And they were just slowly working their way through the river, which was kind of surprising. With 1,500, they're usually through the DSR, and the next day they're upriver. And then just recently, it's why I've been a little slow on the report, we had some heavy water come in, and then we're back up to our heavy rain, which brought heavy water. We had a front come through, a clipper come through, and it dumped almost 3 inches of rain in the Salmon River watershed. So as you can imagine, that made a mess of things. And the Salmon River is now once again flowing at 1,500 with probably another 500 or 600 CFS of water at the Pineville gauge. So you can imagine as you go down river, that water flow is getting bigger. It's definitely flushing all the leaves out, so that's not going to be a problem. And it's just a big blast of water, so here we go again. Rick is saying that there's just not a lot of really good soft seams to swing your fish right now with all this water cushion blasting through. And they're still having a hard time finding fish. So that's been kind of what's the deal on the Salmon River. Run down to where you are. The fly zones have fish, but they have a massive amount of fishing pressure. In fact, the whole river has a massive amount of fishing pressure. I'll touch on that in a minute. The DSR has been really hit and miss. Not a lot of fish being caught down there. I think what's happening is those tiny, tiny handfuls of fish are coming in and they're moving through the Douglaston Run very fast. So if you're fishing the Douglaston Run, the more water you can cover, the better off you are. Don't stay in one pool and fish it. You might get in there in the morning, first person in the pool, hit his fish, and you'll probably spend the rest of the day straining water in that spot. Move. Even if you got a fish or two, that's probably all you're going to get out of that spot onto the next spot. It doesn't mean that you can't come back a few hours later and rerun it, because there might be a few fish moving, but there's not a lot of fish moving, and it doesn't make sense to stay in one spot. So cover a lot of water. The guys that have been swinging have been using like 10-foot, 12-foot of T11, T14, depending on the run. So like I said, even with the 750 water down there, there's been a lot of runoff, so they've been having to run a lot of heavy tips. And the water temperature it's November, folks, so the water temperature is crashing. Mornings are not as good as afternoons. So keep that in mind, because you're going to have a chilling effect during the night. Your water temperatures are going to drop. You're going to have a thermal shock in the morning. And about mid to late morning, when the action really kind of gets good, you might get a quick bite first light, but your best fishing is going to probably be late morning, afternoons, because what's happening is the fish are acclimating to the cool water, and the water temperature is warming up, and sometimes, they kind of meet. So, but the other thing is, even still, anywhere along the river, I'm telling everybody, just cover. Just move. Get itchy feet. Keep swinging to the water. Keep drifting to the water. Just cover. The fishing pressure has been an issue. It's been massive amount of boats from the Elkmar to Pineville float, and as Rick says, it's more like bumper boats all the way down through, and a lot of fishing pressure in the fly zones, a lot of shore pressure. It's almost like salmon season again. with a bad attitude. Folks, it's a public water. We have to work together. We have to share. There's been a lot of just nasty attitudes. Be patient. Be friendly with the anglers around you. Work together. Just by being positive and working with the fishermen around them, I've met some great people doing that and made some great friends. So it always pays to work with the people around you and just be very friendly and very patient with everybody around you. It'll take a crowded spot and make it not feel so crowded. So play nice in the sandbox. Like I said with the Douglaston, it's just been very slow down there. The fish are smoking through it, through the DSR. So a lot of your upper river is starting to be some of your more productive water. That could all change on the tail end of this blast of water. Usually it takes a high water event to straighten up and fire up the fishing. Last time it didn't do it, so I'm hoping this time it will get things kind of rolling again. We'll get a good run of steelhead coming in. Maybe it'll jumpstart the steelhead movement. They're just running late. Everything's been kind of running slow this year. The salmon run was kind of a slow start. It looks like the steelhead run's being a slow start. The brown trout run in the western New York is off to a slow start, which now brings us into the west end of the lake, the brown trout waters. Like I said, it's a slow start. We're still seeing a lot of monster males trickling in, and by now they should be all in. And we also should see a lot of those, give or take a pound, those 7-pounders being in, those female browns being in. And they're just starting to show up. So it looks like everything is really kind of dragging along. The other thing that's making the fishing very tough for everybody is there's no one consistent piece of water. One creek can be low and clear, another one's can be high and dirty. The other thing is there's just no real concentration of fish anywhere. So you got to cover a lot of water, move around. Then you find little jags of fish here and there, and then you do all right when you find a little jag of fish. So it's like you kind of got to. It's a hunting game. You got to just start. You got to hunt them down and fish for them. And it's, with the water being up in a lot of our creeks with all these wonderful rains, we got very good water for the first time in a long time. So a lot of people have never seen this before. And seen dirty water, because these western trips are all about mud. This time of year, you get a little bit of rain and they go muddy, but it's not a problem. So with these high muddier waters, these fish are moving in, they're comfortable, and they're moving through the system really quick, and they're getting spread out. That's why you got to hunt down these little groups of fish. And when you find them, man, we've been finding some monsters this year. So there's some big fish, but they're hard to find, and they're really scattered, and you got to really work hard to get to find some decent fishing. For flies, for the brown trout gig, right now it's an egg pattern thing. So a lot of the water is kind of stabilized. We're kind of getting kind of clearish in most waters. Oregon cheese, nuclear roe bugs is the hot ticket for us. We are doing a little bit of orange, some burnt orange, kind of a Bunnarum Estaz. Roe bug egg beater's been working well. Getting a few on some orange because there's a lot of fresh eggs. When you find a lot of spawning activity, sometimes those fresh eggs are a little bit orangey, and they'll gobble those up pretty good too. If the water goes brown and muddy, I tell everybody the same thing. Any color's good as long as it's chartreuse. So I figured that this is going to be going on here for at least a couple more weeks. This is going to be the game. We got some weather coming in, I think, this week, so it's going to be kind of drizzly. That with the ground being saturated, we could see the water flows coming up a little bit and things getting a little dirty. So you want to carry some Oregon cheese, some orange, and some chartreuse egg patterns, your favorite egg patterns for that. The fly mix, oh, by the way, water temperatures, same thing. In the brown trout water, understand some of our creeks can swing this time of year as much as 10 degrees. So expect a 5 to 7 degree temperature swing most mornings. Like right now, it's in the 30s. The wind's howling. It's been sprinkling, raining. I'm quite sure our creeks probably lost a considerable amount of water temperature over the last couple of days. We get a warm day, that'll creep up. So usually mornings are kind of slow, then things start picking up. Probably mid-morning, afternoons can be really good. As everything kind of gets acclimated, the fish kind of get over the thermal shock and get back to doing what they do. So that's kind of what's up with the water temperatures here. Salmon River, you don't get such a big water temperature swing. Sometimes it's 3 to 4 degrees this time of the year. If you're worried about fighting temperatures, or if it's kind of snowy, fish the upper part of the river closer to the dam. It won't be so bad. Then in the afternoons, work your way down. And by that point, maybe temperatures are starting to warm up a little bit and the fish are acclimating. So that's a little game you can do. You top of the river in the mornings, lower river in the afternoons. It's one way to deal with that. The flies, we're swinging a lot of 3.5-inch intruders. I mean, we get the big fun stuff out. I mean, with this, haven't done well with egg patterns, so we've been throwing big targets out there, putting them on aggressive tips, covering as much water as we can, efficiently as we can. And that's how we've been getting our odd fish here and there. We've been working some of the slots in the upper fly zones with egg patterns and really haven't had the bite. You know, we're picking them up on nymphs, big nymphs like 6s. I've been working 8s and 6s. You know, some wet flies up there. I've been getting in that. That's been working for us. Not as much as the egg bite, but that could all change here. You know, we could get back up in there and that water could settle down. We could have some fish up in there and they could be pretty eggy. You just got to carry your flies and keep experimenting. If something's not working and you think there's life there, just switch it up and try some different presentations and see what they want. It's not unusual to catch, to hook into 6 fish in a day with 6 different flies and 6 different approaches. So it could be almost as individual as a fish. So keep that in mind too. This time of year they can get crabby on you. So that's kind of what's been going on. Couple really quick. Our hats did come in. And look at this. I actually this time have the fly box. Nice thin thing. You can put probably about 4 dozen flies in that thing and go into shirt pocket, down your waders. Got a cool logo. Shameless promotion. And yeah, we have a bunch of these boxes. Unfortunately, Rick and I are not as around. We're scattered all over the rivers. We're in 2 different areas. If you do see us, we'll have a couple on us. We're working on a way to. We don't have an online shop set up yet, so that's one of the things we're going to work on this winter. The other thing that we're going to, so just kind of stay tuned on how you can get the stuff from us. You can contact us if you want. Until then, through our Facebook or Instagram or on the YouTube channel, and say, hey, what do I got to do to get this stuff? And I'll fill you in and we'll get it done. We'll kind of have to old school it for a while. So that's what's going on. Another thing, going into winter, we're going to start doing some other videos. I was thinking about doing some stuff on kind of like tech stuff. I've done some videos on fixing waders, building leaders, setting up spay reels that were kind of popular. So if there's any fishing tech thing you'd like, put that down in the comments and say, hey, show me how to do this. And we get so we're looking for ideas for our fishing tech things that we can do for some how-to informational video things. How do you set up a reel, or how do you make your loops, or something, anything that's like that you're interested in. Give me you got a suggestion you'd like to see us do and show you, put that down in the comments. We could use that. We're looking for ideas, and we're going to probably start doing a little bit of fly time videos. Try that again. They're not very popular, but we're going to probably reapproach that whole thing again this year. So if there's any flies that you'd like to see, or a style of fly, put that down in the comments too. We could use some help with all that. So until then, folks, that's what's going on. It is November. Conditions can and do change quickly, especially this time of the year, because I know they're starting to talk snow. Hell, it's middle of November. It's time to get snowed on. So conditions are changing. We'll probably, who knows, I could get on there and say we're slamming into winter conditions. But that's what's up. Good fishing. Hope you're getting out. And until next time, see you, folks. This is Jay at JPEG Guides and Lost River Fishing. We are a year-round fly fishing catch and release guide service. We fish the Lake Ontario tributaries, and then during the spring and the summer we also fish the inland trout streams, classic dry fly fishing. During the heat of the summer, we will do the warm water fishing for bass and pike. If you're interested in any of our outings or have any questions, please feel free to email us at fish@lostriversfishing.com. Hope to hear from you, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact us.